9 p.m. on a Saturday night, 2 people were murdered. 2 first responders came to the scene first. There were supposedly 2 suspects responsible for the murder. One suspect armed with a .45 caliber gun and the other with a .40 caliber gun. Both suspects were men. According to the men's size 10 and 12 shoe prints that were found on the flower bed in the front. The first suspect with a .45 caliber gun entered through the front door. The door was already cracked open and his handprints were found outside the door and on the inside. He pushed the door open to enter and pushed it with 4 fingers partially to shut it. When walking into the house, he saw a picture frame of a man and a woman. He ripped the picture in half and broke the picture frame, keeping the male side of the picture and leaving the women's. The second with the .40 caliber gun walked around the back of the house. He stepped to the edge of the flower bed on the left of the house while heading towards the sunroom, leaving a footprint. Because of the damp weather, his shoes left a trail of mud on the sidewalk entering the sunroom. The first suspect walked towards the kitchen where the dinner table was set. He entered the room and came in contact with the man. He placed a blue bandana over his knuckles, trying to protect them.
He punched.
I would love to be in this room.
Okay. He punched through the glass in the back door from the inside out, creating an opportunity for the second gunman to shoot through the door without entering. He was cut by a few shards of glass, causing him to bleed on the bandana. The male victim opened a nearby drawer and grabbed a knife to protect himself. The second gunman shot the victim with the .45 caliber, once in the stomach and once in the chest. The second bullet casings were found the 2 bullet casings were found 180 centimeters from the victim. The second gunman ran off. While the victim was facing the second gunman, the first gunman made his way around the island to the back side of the victim. The victim tried to protect himself with the knife and cut the suspect behind him, but only managed to cut his wrist and palm. The first gunman turned on the blender, which already had a fruit mixture in it, to cover up screams and noise. After he was shot in the stomach and chest, he was shot with the .45 caliber in the back of the head. The bullet casings were found 10 centimeters away from the victim. The victim fell forward and unconsciously laid in his own blood. The first suspect removed the bandana from his hand, leaving it on the floor near the back door.
There was a second victim who was a woman who was also at the scene. She was well dressed and most likely eating dinner with the male victim. At first she opened the back door, tried to escape. The first suspect managed to grab her and bring her back into the house, leaving blood drops out the back door. Since he was bleeding from his interaction with the male victim, she broke his hold. The woman began, and the first gunman with the .45 caliber began chasing her. She threw a plate and a glass from the kitchen table to try and defend herself. They made their way from the kitchen to the family room. In the family room, she ran into a chair and a coffee table, knocking them over. Because the room was dark at the time she was running, Since she slowed down, the suspect was able to grab her by her hair. She escaped, but then the suspect still had a small amount of her hair in his hand. Next person.
The woman tries to throw a framed photo and her high-heeled shoe at the man, but he grabs them both from her, leaving blood and hair on the 2 items. He drops the picture frame, making it shatter, and drops the high heel on the way up the steps. The shoe is found on the 3rd step. She finds the stairs and begins to make her way up them. The suspect began to make his way up the steps, using the wall as aid and leaving bloody handprints since it was dark in the house and he had never been there before. He was also dripping blood from the kitchen and up the stairs since he was cut badly. He shot the .45 caliber from the top of the stairs, and the bullet casing was found on the 2nd step from the top of the staircase. He shot into the 2nd bedroom door thinking the woman was inside. This formed a hole in the door. Then he realized she was not in that room and made his way fully up the stairs.
The female victim had locked herself into the master bedroom and dialed 911. She sat on the floor on the far side of the bed, trying to protect herself. The first suspect noticed which room she was in and tried to open the door. It was locked. He managed to twist open the doorknob and splinter the door around it. The doorknob broke off and was dangling on the way in. The woman panicked and tried to throw a nearby lamp at the suspect. She didn't succeed, and the suspect shot her 3 times. There were 3 bullet casings found from a .45 caliber. After the woman was shot, the suspect went to the bathroom and wiped off his bloody hands and tried to clean up his wounds. He left the bloody towels in the bathroom and accidentally wiped some onto the mirror. Before the man left, he didn't steal anything. Jewelry boxes and drawers were all intact. He then broke open the window leading into the roof and climbed out. There was glass from the window on the roof. He landed in the flower bed on the right side, leaving men's size 12 shoe prints in the dirt. He then left and the police came to the scene.